Looks like Rabbi Lisa went to take a stretch break, so I think I'm going to tell you all a story. How do you feel about that? All right. Oh, Rabbi Dennis is taking a break too. All right, okay. Ages and ages ago, the world was full of large and fabulous creatures. One of those creatures was a gigantic yellow bird with dark wings, dark red wings. He was called the Ziz. The Ziz was so huge that when he spread out his wings, he blocked the sun, causing a rain cloud-like darkness to fall all over town so no one could play or see where they were going. He took to flying at night so that he wouldn't block the sun. Occasionally, he hit stars along the way. He was a little clumsy when he flew, but ordinarily he managed just fine and was happy that this meant that kids could play more easily. One day, however, the Ziz made a mistake he could not fix. It was the week before Yom Kippur. He was flying along, not watching where he was going, and he flew smack into the tallest pine tree in the world. Boom. The tree fell over and knocked down another tree. That tree knocked down another tree, and that fell on the vegetable garden behind the synagogue. Smash. Squash. Oops.
Oh, no! Not the vegetable garden. That belongs to the children.
Ugh. The Ziz uncovered his eyes. He looked at the damage. The tomatoes, the corn, the pumpkin, the beans, the squash, all the vegetables the children had worked so hard to plant were smashed to bits. The Ziz flew home and sat in his own garden to think. He'd watched the children plant this vegetable garden. Every year, they planned to harvest the fruits to decorate their sukkah in a week's time.
What will the children do this year?
The Ziz spread out his big wings and flew off to have a chat with God. The Ziz had a special place where he liked to talk to God. It was Mount Sinai. The Ziz was so huge that when he stood on Mount Sinai, his feathered head reached high up into the heavens.
What have you done this time?
I knocked over a big tree, and then that knocked over another tree, and that tree smashed a vegetable garden.
The children's garden?
Yes.
That's a problem.
What should I do?
Well, I want you to do something for me.
Anything.
I want you to search the earth and bring back the hardest word.
The hardest word.
Yes. Now go.
All right, the Ziz stretched his wings and he went off to search. He flew over mountains, he flew over trees, he flew over valleys, he flew over seas. And after searching the whole day, the Ziz stopped to rest at the edge of the forest. In a little house nearby, he heard a mother and child arguing.
I don't want to go to bed,
You need your rest.
but I want to stay up for another hour and watch Daniel Tiger.
That's it. Good night. The hardest word. I found it. I found it.
The Ziz flew as fast as he could to Mount Sinai. With great excitement, he put his bird feet up on the top and he poked into the heavens.
I found it. I found the hardest word.
What is it?
It's good night. Every child hates that word.
The Ziz did a dance on top of Mount Sinai. He loved being right.
Good night is a hard word for children, but there is another word even harder.
There is?
There is. Now go find it.
All right, so the Ziz spread out his mighty wings and went off to search. He flew over mountains, he flew over trees, he flew over valleys, he flew over seas.
Flap, flap. I'm the biggest bird, and I'm looking for
The Ziz searched for 3 more days. Brought back a lot of words to Mount Sinai. Words like rock, rhinoceros, ridiculous, and Rumpelstiltskin. Each time, God sent the Ziz back out to find another word. By the evening of Yom Kippur, the Ziz had brought over 100 words to Mount Sinai. God had not accepted any of them. The Ziz was discouraged. He had tried and tried. He flew back to Mount Sinai to have one more discussion with God.
What word did you bring me this time?
No word.
No word?
No. I've come to say I'm sorry. I just can't find the hardest word.
You can't?
No. I'm so sorry.
You're sorry?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Good job. You found the hardest word.
I did?
Yes, the hardest word is sorry. While all the words you brought were hard, sorry is the hardest.
Well, I always say I'm sorry on Yom Kippur.
Well, all of us need to say it other times too.
Like for when I smashed the garden.
That's right.
Thank you, God.
You're welcome.
That was nice. The Ziz pulled his head out of the heavens. He spread out his great big wings and flew back to the children's garden. On the way, he stopped at his own garden and gathered a big basket of fruits and vegetables for the children. It was time for him to say the hardest word. And I bet the Ziz isn't the only one here who can remember having a hard time saying I'm sorry for something they did this year that they were not proud of. Can I get a show of hands? Who has struggled to say sorry for something they've done to someone else? Yeah. Notice there are rabbis' hands up, there are parents' hands up, cantors, grandparents, and kids. Just about every hand is up in the room. We all make mistakes. And we all say or do things that harm other people sometimes, even when we don't mean to, like the Ziz did by accident. Saying you're sorry can be hard because you don't want to admit you're wrong. And maybe you're actually still a little upset yourself and you're waiting for an apology too. But as God reminds the Ziz, really working up to saying sorry when we see we've hurt someone else is one of the most important and holy things that we do, especially this time of the year when we think about ways we want to change and do better. So my challenge to all of us in this room, perhaps over your breakfast tables later this evening, is to ask each other, kids, parents, grandparents, friends, about a time you struggled to say you were sorry. What was hard about it? What did you learn? What can all of us learn from each other when we have the courage to admit when we've been wrong and be ready to say out loud, I'm sorry, to the person who most needs to hear it? Shana Tova.
Once I was asked to go back to the Hebrew Union College and speak to a group of fifth-year rabbinic students, and the topic was all the things they didn't tell you about the pulpit when you were a rabbinical student. Dressing up as a big red bird would be one of those, and somehow never comes up in the seminary. First of all, great to see everybody here this morning. Great to have you with us.